Stop everything. Pay very close attention to what I'm about to tell you. If the raven keeps appearing in your life, whether in dreams, in your neighborhood, on signs and synchronicities, in visions or meditations, you are not being haunted. You are being hunted. But not by something evil. Not by a demon. Not by darkness trying to destroy you. Your own shadow self is hunting you. And only dark chosen ones experience this type of pursuit. Listen to me. The raven doesn't appear to everyone. It doesn't show up for people who are living surface-level spiritual lives. It doesn't track people who are comfortable with toxic positivity and love and light bypassing. The raven appears specifically to those who have rejected parts of themselves so powerful, so dangerous, so filled with raw, untamed potential that the shadow had no choice but to send a messenger. And that messenger is the raven. If you've seen this bird repeatedly in the last few weeks 3 times, 5 times, every single day your shadow self is circling you, tracking you, waiting for you to stop running and finally turn around. Because what you're running from isn't your enemy, it's your medicine. And today, you're going to understand exactly why the raven won't stop appearing until you integrate what you've been avoiding your entire life. Before we go deeper, if you're a dark chosen one who recognizes that this message found you at exactly the right moment, take a second right now to like this video as your agreement with what's about to be revealed. Subscribe to this channel so you don't miss the shadow work content that's coming. And drop your city and country in the comments so we can see where shadow integration warriors are waking up across the earth. Now stay with me. Don't scroll away, because what I'm about to reveal about the raven will completely transform how you understand your own darkness. And by the end of this video, you'll know the 7 specific messages the raven is bringing you, what it means when it keeps appearing, and exactly what to do to finally integrate your shadow so the hunting can end. Let's begin. First, you need to understand why the raven chooses dark chosen ones specifically. This isn't random. This bird doesn't show up by accident. In every ancient tradition across cultures that span thousands of years and thousands of miles apart, the raven has always represented the same thing: the guardian of the threshold between light and shadow. In Norse mythology, Odin, the all-father god, had 2 ravens named Hugin and Munin. Thought and memory. Every day, these ravens would fly across the world and return to whisper in Odin's ears everything they had seen in both the visible realm and the invisible realm. The raven sees what you cannot see. It knows what you have forgotten. It carries messages from the parts of yourself you have buried. In Celtic tradition, the raven was associated with the Morrigan, the goddess of war, fate, and death. Not death as ending, but death as transformation. The raven appeared on battlefields not to celebrate violence, but to mark the moment when the old self dies and something new can be born. In Native American wisdom, the raven is the trickster, the shapeshifter, the one who brings hidden knowledge. The raven steals the light not to keep it, but to show you that you've been living in darkness without even knowing it. Chosen one, do you see the pattern? Across every culture, every tradition, every mythology, the raven serves the same function. It reveals what is hidden. It speaks the truth you don't want to hear. It forces you to look at what you've been avoiding. And this is why the raven comes specifically to dark chosen ones. Because you, unlike most people, you have rejected something significant. You've pushed down a part of yourself that most people never even awakened to in the first place. Most people live their entire lives with a dormant shadow. They never question their programming. They never examine their darkness. They stay safe in the light, comfortable in their persona, never descending into the depths. But you've tasted the depth. You've felt the darkness. You've sensed the power that lives in the rejected, denied, buried parts of yourself. And that's exactly why you pushed it down. Because the shadow is terrifying when you don't understand it. Your rage felt too dangerous to feel. Your desire felt too wild to unleash. Your selfishness felt too shameful to acknowledge. Your capacity for cruelty felt too dark to integrate. So you buried it. You suppressed it. You demonized it. You became the good person. the nice person, the spiritual person.
And for a while, that worked. But then, the raven appeared.
And the moment the raven shows up, you need to understand something. Your shadow has reached a threshold. The parts you rejected have grown too powerful to stay buried. The denied fragments have become too loud to ignore. The suppressed energy has built up so much force that it's now breaking through the surface. And your shadow self, that deep, ancient, instinctual part of you, it knows that if you don't integrate this power consciously, it will erupt unconsciously. It will come out in passive aggression, in depression, in self-sabotage, in illness, in sudden destructive outbursts that you can't control. So the shadow sends the raven, not to haunt you, not to torment you, but to hunt you down and force you to finally stop running. And when the raven is hunting you, it brings 7 specific messages. Messages that most spiritual people will never hear because they're too afraid to listen. But you're a dark chosen one. And dark chosen ones don't run from their shadow. They turn around and integrate it. So let me tell you exactly what the raven is saying. Message number 1. Your rage is not a sin. It is medicine. The raven appears first to those who have suppressed their anger for so long that it has turned into depression. You were taught that anger is bad, that rage is dangerous, that spiritual people don't get angry. So you swallowed it. Every time someone crossed your boundaries, you smiled and said, "It's okay." Every time someone disrespected you, you turned the other cheek. Every time someone took advantage of your kindness, you told yourself they didn't mean it. And your rage went into your shadow. But the raven knows something you've forgotten. Rage is the energy that protects you when boundaries are violated. Rage is the power that says, enough. Rage is the medicine that burns away what no longer serves you. And when the raven appears, it's saying, stop calling your rage a problem. It's not a demon to cast out. It's a guardian that's been trying to protect you, while you kept telling it to shut up and be nice. Your shadow isn't asking you to become violent. It's asking you to stop being a doormat. There's a difference between unconscious rage that destroys and conscious rage that protects. The raven is here to help you integrate the second kind. Chosen one. If you've been swallowing your anger for years, the raven appearing is your shadow self saying, it's time to stop abandoning yourself to keep the peace. Message number 2. Your darkness is sacred, not sinful. This is the message that religion tried to destroy. You were taught that darkness equals evil, that shadow equals demon, that anything that doesn't fit into the love and light box must be cast out, prayed away, transcended. But that's a lie. And the raven knows it. Darkness is not the opposite of sacred. Darkness is half of the sacred. The womb is dark, and that's where life begins. The soil is dark, and that's where seeds grow. The night is dark, and that's when transformation happens. Your shadow holds the parts of you that don't fit into society's narrow definition of good. Your wildness, your primal instincts, your raw, untamed life force, your capacity to say no. Your ability to destroy what needs to die. These aren't sins. These are powers. And when the raven appears, it's your shadow saying, stop demonizing the very things that make you whole. Message number 3. Your negative thoughts are often more true than your positive ones. This will offend people who are addicted to toxic positivity. But the raven doesn't care about keeping you comfortable. You've been taught to reframe every negative thought, to immediately replace doubt with affirmation, to never question, never criticize, never see what's actually wrong. But sometimes, your negative thoughts are your intuition screaming the truth. That job actually is draining your soul. That relationship actually is one-sided. That person actually is manipulating you. And when the raven appears, it's giving you permission to stop spiritual bypassing. You don't have to choose love when someone is harming you. You don't have to raise your vibration out of legitimate pain. You don't have to pretend everything is a lesson when sometimes it's just trauma. The raven is the part of your shadow that sees clearly. It cuts through the lies. It speaks the uncomfortable truth. And if you keep ignoring it, you'll keep attracting situations that force you to hear it. Message number 4. Your death drive is not suicidal. It's transformational. Now listen carefully to this one, because it's easy to misunderstand. The death drive is a psychological concept that Freud identified and Jung expanded on. It's the part of your psyche that is drawn to endings, to dissolution, to the destruction of the old form, so something new can emerge. And dark chosen ones feel this intensely. You have moments where you want everything to end. Not your physical life necessarily, but your current life. This identity, this structure, this version of you. You have a death wish for your false self. And mainstream spirituality tells you that's depression. That it's darkness you need to heal. That you need to get help and think more positively. But when the raven appears, it's saying, what you're feeling isn't pathological. It's initiatory. Your soul is ready to die to the old and be reborn into the new. The raven is the psychopomp, the guide that walks you through death and rebirth. And it won't leave until you stop resisting the transformation. Now, I need to be very clear here. If you are experiencing suicidal ideation, if you are in immediate crisis, that is not the same thing as what I'm describing. Call 988. Text HOME to 741. 741. Reach out to a therapist, a friend, a crisis counselor. The death drive in the Jungian sense is about ego death, not physical death. Both can coexist. You can be going through spiritual transformation and need mental health support. Honor both. Message number 5. Your isolation is strategic, not a sign of failure. When the raven appears, you often find yourself pulling away from people. Friends stop making sense. Social events feel unbearable. Small talk becomes physically painful. And you judge yourself for it. You think something's wrong with you. You force yourself to stay connected when your entire being is screaming for solitude. But the raven is showing you. This isolation is not depression. It's incubation. You are not withdrawing because you're broken. You're withdrawing because you're transforming. And transformation requires darkness. It requires solitude. It requires pulling away from the external world so you can descend into the internal one. The raven knows that you cannot integrate your shadow in the middle of a crowded room. You need the cave. You need the night. You need the alone time that everyone else calls isolating. So when the raven appears and you feel the pull to be alone, stop fighting it. Your shadow is calling you into the depths, and that's where the gold is. Message number 6. Your ruthlessness is not cruelty. It's boundaries. This is the message that nice people hate. You've been taught that cutting people off is mean, that saying no is selfish, that protecting yourself is cold. So you let toxic people stay in your life way longer than they should. You give chances to people who've proven they'll waste them. You keep your heart open to people who keep stabbing it. And the raven appears and says, enough. Your shadow holds your capacity for ruthlessness, not cruelty. Ruthlessness. The ability to cut off what drains you without guilt. The ability to say no without explanation. The ability to walk away without looking back. This isn't being a bad person. This is being a sovereign person. And when you integrate this part of your shadow, you stop being everyone's emotional dumping ground. You stop sacrificing yourself on the altar of other people's comfort. You become someone who is kind but not available for abuse. That's what the raven is calling you into. Message number 7. Your shadow wants to come home. This is the core message beneath all the others. Every time the raven appears, every time you see it circling, it's your shadow self saying, I'm tired of being rejected. I'm tired of being called a demon. I'm tired of being the part of you that you're ashamed of.
I want to come home.
Your rage wants to come home and protect you. Your darkness wants to come home and give you depth. Your death drive wants to come home and transform you. Your ruthlessness wants to come home and guard your energy. All the parts you rejected, all the fragments you denied, they're not trying to destroy you. They're trying to come home. And the raven won't stop appearing until you open the door. So now the question becomes, what do you actually do when the raven keeps appearing?
How do you stop running and finally integrate what it's bringing?
Listen carefully, because this is where most people make a critical mistake. When the raven appears, you have three options. Option 1. Ignore it. Pretend you don't see it. Distract yourself. Stay busy. Keep forcing positivity. Tell yourself it doesn't mean anything. And here's what happens when you choose this option.
The shadow intensifies.
What started as a recurring dream becomes insomnia. What started as mild depression becomes complete shutdown. What started as irritation becomes rage you can't control. The shadow will not be ignored. And the more you resist, the louder it gets. Option 2. Fear it. See the raven as an evil omen. Believe your shadow is a demon attacking you. Try to cast it out. Pray it away. Transcend it with spiritual bypassing. And here's what happens with this option. You split yourself in half. You declare war on part of yourself. You try to kill your own shadow. And you cannot win a war against yourself. You'll just exhaust yourself fighting an enemy that is actually your own rejected power. Option 3. Turn around and face it. This is the path of the dark chosen one. When the raven appears, you stop running. You turn around. You look directly at what you've been avoiding, and you say, I see you. I'm listening. What part of me are you? Here's exactly how to do this. Step 1. Acknowledge the raven. The next time you see it, whether in a dream, in real life, in a vision, don't dismiss it. Say out loud or in your mind, I see you. I know you're here for a reason. This simple acknowledgement changes everything. You're no longer in denial. You're no longer running. You've turned around to face your shadow. Step 2. Journal the encounters. Every time the raven appears, write it down. Where were you? What were you feeling? What was happening in your life at that moment? Pattern reveals message. You'll start to notice. The raven shows up right before you're about to betray yourself. Right before you're about to say yes when you mean no. Right before you're about to suppress your truth to keep the peace. The raven is marking the moments when your shadow needs you to pay attention. Step 3. Dialogue with your shadow. This is active imagination, a technique Carl Jung used and taught. Sit in a quiet space. Close your eyes. Visualize the raven and ask it, what part of me are you? What do you need me to know? Then listen, not with your thinking mind, with your feeling body. The shadow doesn't speak in words. It speaks in sensations, in images, in instinct. You might feel rage rising. Don't suppress it. Feel where it lives in your body. Ask it, what are you protecting me from? You might feel grief. Let it surface. Ask, what am I grieving? You might feel a wild, untamed energy. Let it move. Ask, what part of me have I domesticated that wants to be free? This is not meditation. This is not visualization. This is active engagement with your shadow. And when you do this, when you truly dialogue instead of suppress, the raven begins to transform. Step 4. Integrate the message. Once you understand what your shadow is telling you, you have to act on it in your real life. If your shadow is saying, set boundaries, then actually set them. If your shadow is saying, stop being nice to people who hurt you, then actually stop. If your shadow is saying, quit the job that's killing your soul, then make a plan and quit. Integration is not just internal work. Integration means your external life starts to reflect your internal truth. And yes, This will disrupt your life. Yes, people will be uncomfortable. Yes, things will change.
But the alternative is staying split, staying at war with yourself, staying hunted by your own shadow.
Step 5. Thank the Raven. When you've integrated the message, when you've made the changes, when you've reclaimed the rejected parts, the Raven stops appearing.
Or it transforms. Sometimes it becomes a different animal. Sometimes it becomes a guide instead of a hunter. But before it leaves, thank it. Thank your shadow for refusing to let you stay comfortable in your lies. Thank it for hunting you down when you were running from your power. Thank it for loving you enough to force you to become whole.
And once you do this, once you fully integrate what the Raven brought, everything changes. When you integrate your shadow, when you finally stop running from the Raven and reclaim the rejected parts, you don't become more spiritual. You become more whole, and wholeness, true wholeness, looks nothing like what mainstream spirituality teaches.
You stop being nice and start being kind. You stop being available to everyone and start protecting your energy. You stop sacrificing yourself and start honoring your needs. You stop swallowing your rage and start using it as fuel. You stop demonizing your darkness and start wielding it as medicine. You stop running from endings and start embracing transformation. You become someone who can hold both light and shadow without splitting. Someone who can be compassionate and ruthless, gentle and fierce, spiritual and embodied. You stop trying to transcend your humanity, and you start integrating it.
And that is what it means to be a dark chosen one.
Not someone who bypasses darkness, not someone who only lives in the light, but someone who has descended into their shadow, faced what they found there, and brought it home.
And here's what most people don't tell you.
After integration, the Raven may stop appearing, but your relationship with your shadow changes forever. You no longer see it as the enemy. You see it as the guardian it always was.
You no longer run from your darkness. You turn to it for wisdom.
When you feel rage, you ask, what boundary was crossed? When you feel the death drive, you ask, what needs to die so something new can be born?
When you want to isolate, you honor it as necessary incubation.
You become dangerous. Not in a destructive way, in a sovereign way. Dangerous to manipulation because you see through it. Dangerous to false spirituality because you've integrated what they're bypassing. Dangerous to systems that require your compliance because you've reclaimed your wild nature. The Raven hunted you not to destroy you, but to awaken you. And now that you're awake, now that you've integrated your shadow, you walk through the world as a fully embodied being. Not split into good and bad, not performing spirituality, but whole, integrated, sovereign. This is who you were always meant to become, chosen one. If the Raven has been appearing in your life, you now understand why. It's not haunting you. It's hunting you. Your shadow self sent it to track you down and force you to stop running from your own power. The 7 messages the Raven brings. Your rage is medicine. Your darkness is sacred. Your negative thoughts are often true. Your death drive is transformational. Your isolation is strategic. Your ruthlessness is boundaries. And your shadow wants to come home. These aren't things to fear. They're invitations to wholeness. If this message resonated with your soul, if you recognize yourself as a dark chosen one who is being hunted by your shadow, do 3 things right now. First, comment, "The Raven found me" below. Let's see how many shadow integration warriors are watching this video. Second, share this with someone else who needs to hear it. There are people in your life right now who are running from their shadow, and they need to know they're not alone. Third, subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. More shadow work content, more Dark Chosen One teachings, more integration practices are coming. Don't miss them. The Raven is circling. Your shadow is calling. And the only way forward is through. Not over, not around. Through. Descend into your darkness.
Integrate your shadow. Become whole.
You are not broken. You are being forged. You are not haunted. You are being hunted by your own power.
And when you finally turn around and face it, you will discover that what you thought was your enemy was your medicine all along.
The raven brought you here. Now it's time to integrate what it's offering. Your shadow is waiting.
Don't make it wait any longer. Watch this next video to continue your shadow integration journey. It's called Title of Next Video, and it will show you the next stage of Dark Chosen One Awakening. I'll see you there.